Hello class, this is video number 4 of the counter sequence design for 3 different variables. My goal here is to show you how to create the values of Q2, Q1, Q0 sum of products formed from each of these K-maps. Let's start with J2. Well, J2 I have encircled this column on the right, which means I have canceled every value of Q2 and Q1, which means I'm only left with Q0 in the true state. So that means the value of J2 would simply be Q0. Now let's look at K2. Likewise, I've completed all of the column cancelizations over here for Q2 and Q1, which means I'm only dealing with Q0, but I'm in the not column for Q0, which means that I would be dealing with Q0 bar. Now let's move on to J1. Now J1 crosses over both columns for Q0, so that is canceled. Now if I look here, I can see that I am canceling Q1 because I'm going from a 1 row to a 0 row, which I'm only left with Q2, and Q2 is a positive or a high. K1. K1 has the same structure as J1, except it's in the upper half of the K-map. So if I look in the upper half of the K-map, I see that Q1 cancels again, but this time it leaves me with Q2 not being the same. So that will be Q2 with a bar. Now J0. J0 and K0 will be the most complex of the 6. I have 2 terms. Both terms will be single variables, but I must look at them closely to be sure that I get them correctly. Well, this circle is the exact same circle as K1. So that means I should use the value that I've already created for K1, which is Q2 naught. Now I have a new circle on top and the bottom, so I have to add that or that into the expression as a separate term. When I move from the top row to the bottom row, I am moving from 0 to 1 on the Q2 variable, which leaves Q1 0. So that leaves me with Q1 with the bar across the top. Now K0 will be my most complex Boolean expression because I'm only circling 2 terms or 2 variables. So I'm only canceling 1 for each term. So it will be the most complex of the Boolean expressions. So let's look at the top one. The top one is on the top row. I know that it is canceling Q0 because it's going from column to column. So I'm at the top row. If I look at the top row, that leaves me with Q2 and Q1 bar for each one. Now I have to add that with this middle term here. It looks like it's the same thing, Q2 and Q1, but this time with no bar. Now if you remember the truth table, this looks like this is true when these are at the top and the bottom of the truth table. That basically is the XNOR function. So we could build this as a sum of products, or we can simply draw the XNOR symbol for these two inputs, Q2 and Q1. And that will implement the same function. So in the next video, we will complete the design of our counter.